when I came up with the Bull's voice, it was Winston Churchill and honestly Jim Cummings, Thunder and Pete from the Mickey Mouse Club, which is that guy. He's like Mickey the Mouse. Hey, how you doing? And Winston Churchill was here, and when you combine them both, you
Oh
become
my
the Iron
god.
Bull. And so that's kind of how it came to fruition, and that's how I started working on voices.
Okay, now we have to move on to my man, Kanan.
Oh my God,
Oh,
my favorite.
yeah. So I absolutely love him. Um,
Yeah, he's the man.
uh, I haven't seen season 2, unfortunately, because I can't.
The only thing that's come out is the movie that they did. It was like an hour-long movie.
Is
The
that?
season doesn't. Yeah, so you haven't missed much. The season doesn't start till September or October.
Oh, dude, I thought it
So,
was already running. I was like, ugh.
well, they ran that beginning thing. I think in June. I think came out end of June, and that was more. It wasn't a tease. They gave him an hour movie basically with Darth Vader kicking my butt all over the place, which was
Dude,
awesome.
I want to see that.
But now they're like, and now you get to wait 3 months for season two. So you haven't missed anything. You missed a movie in there, and all you need to know is Vader whooped on me. That's the
Oh,
most important
hails to
thing
the
in the whole
no.
story. No, but that's good. You got to do the job to Vader, man. Nobody can beat Vader.
That when I saw it, I was like, if they kill Kanan, if Vader kills Kanan, that's it, dude. That is it.
Man, I'd have been pissed. I'd have been.
Oh,
I mean, if you gotta die, I'd want it to be that way. But the way it went down, if it would have happened, I wouldn't have known until I read the script, and asses would have been kicked if that happened. I'd have been like, "Hey, y'all didn't say nothing at the end of season one about this, so it's game on."
that
Coming up
fight,
to NorCal.
that that fight between the Inquisitor, Kanan, and Ezra in season 1.
Yeah, man.
I think
Look,
that was my favorite lightsaber fight in any Star Wars.
that's dope of you to say that. These are the same guys that did Clone Wars. And for me, like the greatest lightsaber fight, it's funny you say that because for me, the best lightsaber fight isn't from any of the movies. It's Pre Vizsla versus Darth Maul. Because that lightsaber fight is a chess match of like Mando technology versus Sith warrior ninja skills, right? And you see Mando technology just dominate the Sith, dominate Darth frigging Maul. And Maul starts to take the technology instead of the warrior in front of him one piece at a time, and he starts to strip it away one
Oh
piece at a
wow.
time till there's nothing left but this soldier, if you want to call him that, or terrorist or warrior, whatever you want to call Pre Vizsla, other than John Favreau awesomeness, versus versus Sam doing the illest Darth Maul ever. Like that's should be the voice in the movies. I don't think it is, but it should be. And all of a sudden it's toe to toe and it's no contest. Maul just annihilates him and then cuts off his head. And if you get the DVD, you can actually see Vizsla's head get chopped off. If
Oh.
if you just watch it on Netflix, they censor it.
Oh
And the
man.
original series they censored it. But so to me that was, and when I saw the Kanan Inquisitor and saw people reacting to that saber fight the way I reacted
Hmm.
to Vizsla Maul, I was like through the moon. And I didn't like I had something to do with it. It's there that's all they're doing, but still like just to be a part of that and to see people trip out and cut their own videos and re-edit the fight, and one person made my lightsaber purple because they heard I like Mace Windu's lightsaber. I mean, I literally was
Nice.
like, "Yo, how did you even
How'd
do
you?
that?" And they're like, "Oh, it's not that hard. You just do every single pixel purple." I'm like, "Every single what? Like what, bro?" But yeah, so I went through the moon for that, and that fight's epic because this is on the nerd tip, but you got to remember, like Kanan's master Depa, she got murdered. She got
Yeah.
killed in Order 66. If you read the comics, you can even see the two guys who do it, and the two clones who kill her. But he didn't get to really do any of the trials, like the Jedi trials.
Yeah.
Or I think there's five of them, if my nerdness serves me correctly. And so all of his is sort of on the job training. He didn't get to go to Jedi college. He didn't get to go to keg parties and join frats and do any of that. It's all like real world, straight up. this guy's going to kill you unless you learn how to fight better.
That's what I
And if
love
you watch
about
like
him.
the first fight, he gets owned, and the second fight he gets, beat on pretty bad, and the third fight he shows up, but he doesn't have, he's like the Raiders, right? Like they're good for the first two series, and then you're like, yo, did you not have another play after that? You guys suck every year. That's Kanan. Like he has a good first 5 or 6 moves, but that's all he had, and the Inquisitor had way more, so he would dominate him the
Yeah.
same way everybody beats the friggin' Raiders all the time. That's why you suck. Not that I know everything about football, but come on, man. Like you got to have more than 2 drives. Like you have to plan for more than 2 drives. That's not even a whole quarter. There's 4 quarters in a football game, and every coach they get, they're like, we're doing 2 drives, and it's going to be the same 12 plays every time. Like it's stupid. Anyway, I'm not even the biggest Raiders fan, and I just get so bummed out for them. I'm like, I know what they're going to play. Like I literally know the play before they do it.
Yeah.
Sorry. But anyway, that's Kanan. He doesn't have a coach giving him this full game plan of, we're going to run the ball, run the ball, run the
Yeah.
ball, and then when they stack the box, we're going to throw it. And that's what that last fight is he's finally sort of let everything go. He lets the fear go. He lets the anger go. And the fear, right, is protecting Ezra.
Yeah.
When he thinks Ezra's dead, that baggage is gone. And if you
Yeah.
follow like the hardcore Jedi code, have no attachments. I mean, that's
Right.
stuff that in Clone Wars was said all the time. And when that attachment is deemed gone, he just annihilates this guy. And look,
That
the
was so
Inquisitor's not
epic.
the Inquisitor's not a Sith Lord, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's not like Ahsoka would have owned the Inquisitor first fight right away. It wouldn't have lasted 30 seconds. She would have just smashed on him. But for Kanan, it's an epic moment because this is his sort of trial of flesh,
Yeah.
if you want to call it that. He's gone through torture and he's gone through this sort of epic battle against his nemesis for season 1. And then, like Star Wars always does, every victory you get, you're going to get this epic sort of, you know, Tanya Harding attack to the knees. You know what I mean? Like, so season 2 is very much like Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
The rebels have had their victory, and now the Empire will crush. And you see in the movie. So this isn't a spoiler. Vader doesn't play, and he whoops on Kanan, and it's not even close. And he injures Sabine. He injures
Hell
Kanan.
no.
He makes Ezra hold his lightsaber to his own throat and almost makes him cut his own throat. We drop walkers on him with the Force, and he just power lifts them right off, and it's
Oh
game
man,
over.
I
Like
need to see
we,
this.
watch it. There's got to be a way. It's got to be on YouTube or on their website
I watched
for
season. I
free.
watched season
Something.
1 on the AT&T. What's it called?
Uverse.
Yeah, Uverse. I watched it on there, but
That's so funny. I do the voice for Uverse.
no way.
I do. Yeah. They'll love that. They'll be like, "Yeah, all right. See, we're cool. We got Star
See, we're
Wars."
cool.
Well, maybe they'll have that too. And if they don't, you guys better step it up.
Yeah, they don't have it. They
Um,
didn't have it when I checked. I was like,
That's whack.
I know, right?
Well, you'll see it soon enough. There's probably like a weirder version of it on YouTube where they speed it up just a little, but that might sound lame. I don't know. I'm hip to YouTube now, so don't even trip. But yeah, man, Kanan is it's kind
Man.
of cheating because he gets to break a lot of Jedi rules that you wish your favorite Jedis could have broken. But if they did, it would have screwed up the movie. But with Kanan, they can make him pay for it every time, and Dave always does. So I saw that handsome eyebrow you put up there, by the way.
I have him right
Um,
here, man.
That's better than like the Rock's eyebrow. Remember the Rock from WWF? He do the people's eyebrow.
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
do it, but he just raised one, right? Like Elvis.
Yeah.
That's the Kanan brow right
Man,
there.
Kanan's got
Kanan's
the
brow's even
brows.
better. But yeah, man, he gets to do whatever he wants. You know what I mean? He always has to pay for it and eat crap every time he does. But he literally gets to sort of break Jedi rules because he grew up on the streets and was raised by friggin' bounty hunters and weirdos and fell in love with a twee and got the fever and you know what I mean? Like he's just a different kind of guy. He's very contrarian. He doesn't like soldiers. Season 2's sick. Like you'll see him
So wait,
reject everything he's built in the rebellion. Like he hates soldiers. He hates
Yeah.
clone. They killed his master. Why would he want to work with Rex? Like Rex is from Clone Wars.
Yeah.
We have him season 2 and maybe beyond. You never know. But Kanan doesn't get along with him. He hates him and literally and I know, Only the unloved hate, the unloved and the unnatural. That's Charlie Chaplin, the dictator, which is a great speech, by the way. Probably the best speech in cinema if you really listen to what he's saying and how it applies today. It's amazing. And they did a really cool Star Wars like montage to it that talks about like representing the Empire and all these other things. I'll
Really?
tweet it and people will be like, "Whoa, that's so sick." Dave Filoni sent it to me. It literally like made me cry the first time.
Oh yeah, you have
But
to remember to do that.
yeah, I will. It's really easy. It's called Vader's greatest speech ever made. If you just put that in a Yahoo thing, it's the only thing that comes up. But it's awesome. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked again, and I don't remember what we're talking about other than Kanan and how awesome he is.
Well, you said he fell in love with a tweet.
I did say that he fell in love with.
Are you talking about
did,
Hera?
man. Yeah.
Dude, I root for them
Read the book.
so bad. It's in the book? I have the freaking book.
Read the book. It's literally their entire backstory and the entire love story. That's where like all the space married rumors started, were because of A New Dawn. It's cool.
Do they
man.
finally
And
get
Hera,
together in season 2?
I won't say nothing. They probably wouldn't even
Aw.
care if I did, but I won't say it just because I want you guys to
They
suffer and
have
think.
to.
I'll tell you this: like season 2 is gonna be the highest of highs and the lowest of lows
Oh,
for Kanan and Hera. And people can speculate and go all different directions, but that's literally the most accurate way to describe it. I mean, their relationship goes to an unbelievably special place due to this sort of character on the outside that our show's fortunate enough to bring in, that brings these two characters even closer together, and they learn so much more about one another. And then as the season goes, you'll also see sort of the literally the like the lowest of lows that a couple could go through. Not like I hate you, not bickering or fighting. It's Star Wars doesn't do that. They save that for Solo and Leia only, because they do it better than anybody. But you'll see a lot of emotion and a lot of heart and soul. Season
aw.
2 is a lot about backstory. It's a lot about what made these characters as effective as they are in season 1, and how the Empire is going to counteract that by sending much more of its force to deal with them as opposed to a single Inquisitor. So there's
Ooh.
multiple Inquisitors that'll be hunting us, plus Vader, plus Agent Callus, who we still have, thank God, because David's like the sickest actor in the world these days, and playing Martin Luther King and every other role in the world, and still makes time to do his tiny Star Wars show on the Disney Channel.
Nice.
So we use him well. It's not like, oh, we have a guy who should have won an Academy Award and here's 2 lines. Like, he has a huge role through the entire second season.
Oh,
One episode is sort of literally focused strictly on Callus. I don't think anybody knows that. And they won't get mad at me for saying it, but it literally is a Callus episode, and you
oh,
really learn what makes this guy tick, and who he is, and what, not just what kind of agent he is, but what kind of a man he is and what motivates him, which is really awesome. And it's why people fall in love with bad guys in Star Wars, because we learn what made him bad.
yeah.
And Rebels is no different. It's gonna teach you, and at times, you know, make the stakes so high that truth has to come out. And when it does, it's always going to be like, hold on, what? Because it's in the middle of, some crazy epic star destroyer battle or whatever, plans that they have for epic fight scenes. And then how do they deal with that when the fight's over and when the excitement's over? And that's a lot of season 2. There's a lot of highs, a lot of lows.
Oh,
If you want to say that Kanan passed his first Jedi trial in season 1, then season 2 you're going to see a lot more trial like stuff going down, and you're going to see his growth. You
nice.
see Ezra's growth big time, and you see Ezra get tempted a lot. Like, if you remember in season 1, Ezra has an ability better than Kanan to sort of connect with other living creatures,
Right.
whether they're loth cats or even some of those what were they called on the things that were afraid of the light but were pretty badass in the dark. I don't remember what they were
Right.
called,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
whatever.
The Sabine and
When
heroine.
Yeah, and then he and Kanan go there later with a beacon to lure the Inquisitor there, because they're going to try to use those
Right.
beasts to take him out. And that's when Ezra sort of like trips out, gets too emotional, and summons that big
Yeah.
mama to come that almost whoops on everybody, right? So, and that's dark side stuff, and Kanan warns him about that. So, season 2, you're going to see a lot more of that sort of temptation come into Ezra's life, and Kanan, isn't the best master. He technically he's not even a
That's what I
master.
love seeing.
Um, yeah, so you'll see sort of him struggle to control this kid. You'll see him struggle to grow as a teacher at the same rate as his student is
Nice.
growing.
Love that.
And how he deals with that, sometimes in a really awesome Jedi way, and sometimes he totally screws it up. But it's a really great season. We recorded our last episode of season 2, and it's awesome. Like it's just I think we did 13 episodes season 1. We did like 22 or 23
Oh,
season 2.
yes.
So we just got way more time to tell stories and way more time to keep the thread moving and to let everybody learn like who these people are. And Vader's badass. And he's not
So glad.
a scrub. He doesn't whine ever. Nobody gets to beat him up. It's not Force Unleashed 2. Like there's no God mode, man. Vader's God and everybody else has to bow down, and that's the way it should be. I don't believe in God mode. I don't believe in it.
How did you get the role as Kanan?
Man, I went in. They don't tell you it's Star Wars, right? And I went to Disney to read for this thing called the Wolf Pack. That's what they called it because Dave has a thing with wolves. So Dave Filoni, so he called it the Wolf Pack. And the dialogue was corny. Like instead of lightsaber, it was like sun sword. And I'm like, that's from Thundar the Barbarian, man. I mean, or old school stars, but I'm like, oh, that's Thundar. Like they're ripping off Thundar. That Thundar's not even cool anymore, is it? Like I loved it, but I didn't think other people did, so I didn't know what it was. And when I was in the parking lot, this really cool voiceover actor who I can't say his name, but he was smoking pot in the parking lot, and he was like, hey Freddie, and I shouldn't even do his voice or people be like, oh that's that dude, but he's like, hey Freddie, come here, and I said, what's up? And he's like, are you reading for that Wolf Pack thing? And I said, yeah. He said, you know what that is, right? I said, no. He goes, can I cuss or can I not cuss?
Yeah, go for it.
He says, it's fucking Star Wars. And I literally, like, my chin hit the ground, man. And he was like, you want to hit this? I was like, no, we're good. You do your thing, man. And I literally went inside and sat down. And when I got in the room, or before I got in the room, there's another girl out there who's going to read before me. She was reading for Tia Sirkar's, or Sirkar. Oh, Tia gets so mad when people
Ooh.
say that. Sirkar. It's not Sirkar. It's Sirkar. And the only reason I said Sirkar is because she told me, oh, I get so mad when people say Sirkar. It's the only time I've ever said it like that. But I saw this other girl reading for her who clearly was not as good as our Tia. And she came out, and I'm looking at the artwork, and I'm like, okay, this is Star Wars, or they're literally like robbing it, because that's a Twi'lek, that's Jabba the Hutt, that's Han Solo, or whoever these, you know what I mean? I'm seeing Star Wars type people. And I go in the room, and then behind the glass, I can see everybody who's writing and the directors, and of course, Dave has his black hat on, and so I know that's Dave Filoni, and so in the mic, I just say, yo, is this bleeping Star Wars? And they go, yeah. I go, all right, just give me a sec. And I like
Give me a
walk over.
second.
I'm like, okay, because now the dialogue is totally different the way I'm gonna do it, right? I go, okay, I know what they want. It's Han Solo. I'm just not allowed to say it's Han Solo. And so I did Kanan. I played him super cocky. I played him very cavalier, very irreverent, very anti-authority, willing to talk trash, willing to be mean to kids. You know what I mean? Like, but in a snarky way, not never in a cruel way, right?
Yeah.
Always with a smile. I knew that's what they wanted. After that, I knew I did a good job. It was just if I was somebody they wanted to work with. So, they called a few people and asked around, and they heard good things, fortunately, and so I got the job. And that was it,
Oh
man. But
man. Did you know you were playing a
yeah,
Jedi?
I didn't until I got there.
Oh man.
And then it all kind of, because originally it was like, hey, you stole my son's sword. You should give me that, and I'll teach you how to use it one day. Or it was
Oh.
like, there was no Jedi weight to it. And all of a sudden you hear that, and you're like,
That was a lightsaber.
may the force be with you. Oh, like
No.
that's all you want to say at the end of the
No.
audition, no matter what the dialogue is.
Oh man, my head would have exploded.
Yeah, I mean, Vanessa's did, mine did. Tia and like Taylor didn't know anything about Star Wars. He's 22 years old. He's like Star Wars with that Hayden guy. Like he doesn't, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh.
but he doesn't. But he doesn't know. Like you know what I mean? Like Star Wars was on before I was born, and I'm almost 40. So
Yeah.
I know people who haven't seen it. I just think they're weird. If you haven't seen The Godfather, that's weird. If you haven't seen Star Wars, that's
That's
weird.
weird. Yeah.
If you haven't ever heard the Rolling Stones, whether you like them or not, that's
It's
weird. That's
weird.
just
Yeah.
weird that you wouldn't have heard them. Like they've been rocking for 60 years.
Yeah.
So, for him it wasn't that big of a deal, and for Tia, she got it, but she didn't get it, right? And then like halfway through season 1, she started asking like question after question, and I was like, "Oh my god, she's got the bug." And I asked
Oh.
her after the episode, I was like, "You're watching Clone Wars, aren't you?" And she was like, "Oh my god, I'm halfway through season 1." Da, 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 da. And I was like, "You are such a nerd now. I love it." So Tia's a total nerd now,
Aw.
and knows she's not like I'm not gonna put her on the spot and go, "She's a master of all things Star Wars," but she really knows her stuff now, and she understands the history and the philosophy of Mandalorians,
Oh,
and
that's so
it's super
cool.
she's super cool, man, and she's committed so much to it, and Taylor has committed so much more like of his nerddom to it, because Taylor reads like books on astrophysics, like while he's sitting like waiting for us to finish our
Wow.
dialogue, you know what I mean? Like, so he's a sharp cat. He just has to find how to apply that to the Star Wars universe, and he did, like by season 2 just about. But he's never going to commit to it like I have, because he's got a life, and I don't. So it's easy for me to read extended universe. And the Grand Admiral. But Steve obviously has nerd love for it, because he's old enough to know about it, and has voiced everything from every Star Wars game to probably everything else in the world. Although I don't think he ever did Clone Wars, which would be
That
really
would be
strange, but I
very
don't think he
surprising.
did.
Really?
And then we get these legend characters, like Billy D. Williams and James Earl Jones, you know what I mean? And Frank Oz voicing Yoda. Like, I got to talk to Yoda. Granted, it was like Spirit Sparkly Yoda.
Yeah.
It
But
wasn't
still,
Little
Yoda.
Green Man Yoda, but it's still Yoda, man. Yoda only got to talk to Qui-Gon in Clone Wars and the sparkly dead stuff, so whatever. What
Uh,
is that? The living force? I don't know. Some nerd will be like, it's midi-chlorians in a physical form instead of the. What? I don't know,
it's
man. It was
sparkly
sparkly
Yoda.
stuff. It's pixie dust, man. Tinkerbell.
Besides Kanan, who's your favorite character in Rebels?
Oh man, I can't even tell you because it's a secret.
Ooh.
Crap.
Okay, well, who's your favorite character in season 1?
Yeah, that's got to be the question. I love Callus, but my favorite of like the rebels besides Kanan is probably Sabine. Gets the coolest lines, but it's probably Zeb, because he had my favorite line in all of season 1. It's just one word, and it's just shush. And like
Zeb's
the whole season,
hilarious.
like that, I literally was like, yeah, that's the best line in the whole season. Sabine has the best line season 2, which isn't a spoiler if I say it. People think it's cool. Which is never get between a Mandalorian and a weapons package. And to me, I'm like, yo, that's like Boba should have said Django.
Yeah.
But like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, she's the one who finally like gets to say that. That's
Nice.
awesome. That's like a line from the A Team in
Yeah.
the late '80s. You know what I mean?
That's epic.
And she gets to cut it. So she definitely has the best line in season 2. But yeah, it's Zeb's my favorite character of the Rebels. And I just he's a hairless Wookiee. You know what I mean? Like, and Chewbacca was the only Latino in space, so I got to pull for the Wookiee. He was Chewie. You know
Chewie.
Spanish guy's named Chewie? Come on.
Who out of James Vega, Iron Bull, and Kanan do you relate to the most?
Probably Kanan. I was raised, my godfather's Bob Wall. He's the guy that trained with Bruce Lee when Bruce came to America and was a legit martial artist in his own right. He was Carl Miller in all the Bruce Lee movies, the guy with the scar down his eye. And I think it was Enter the Dragon. And he was in another one where he kicks him into a locker. And Bruce Lee says, "You lose, Carl Miller." That's my godfather. So he was like a no joke guy and had a lot of Eastern philosophy more than Western philosophy, and taught me a lot about discipline, and not just his form of martial arts, which was Tang Soo Do, but taking many forms. Now they just call it MMA, right?
Mm-hmm.
But back then it was just training in different forms because Bruce always said not to limit yourself, and he was a big believer in that. And when you do any individual sport, whether it's tennis or swimming or wrestling, any combat sport where you can only rely on yourself, I've found it makes for a much more confident person later in life. There's no teammates to blame. It's not, well, if Mike didn't suck, we would have won. Like, it's no, you weren't good enough, bro. So you get better. And that's kind of how I was raised. And again, with more of an Eastern philosophy than a Western philosophy, which wasn't so much the result, it was more the journey. Like in America, it's, win, you gotta be a champion or you're nothing. And the Eastern philosophy is more about, taking advantage of sort of absorbing all the small lessons you learn on the way to that
Yeah.
victory so that it's not a fleeting moment, so that it's not something that happens and then can't be replicated because you weren't in the moment. Like the Eastern philosophy wants you to recognize the steps necessary to succeed so that in the next challenge that you're presented with, you have a plan to sort of follow and go through. And you can apply it to business as I have. You can apply it to your relationships, to training a dog how to heel and sit without getting mad at it. Like you can
Oh.
apply it to anything. And so that's how I was raised, and it was a very sort of Jedi-like
Yeah.
experience. And my diet was regimented, which sucked. And my mom would send me out to California to live and train with him
Wow.
because she wanted me to have a male in my life and a strong male. And so summers I would spend out here. She'd even let me skip some school to stay out here, and literally his best friend was Chuck Norris. You know what I mean? Like when I was 12 years old, I won this karate tournament. It was like a big one back then. It was like 1987. And I thought I was hot stuff. And my godfather goes, "Oh, you should spar with Chuck." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I should spar with Chuck." And so he had this like dojo in the back of his house in Tarzana, California. Him and they don't live there anymore, so I can say where they live, but they lived on Donna Street. They literally were best friends forever and were basically next door neighbor, like in their 50s, like frat boys who behaved like 16-year-olds and would start fights with like UCLA linemen and beat their ass. Literally, they would do this as old men and go to court and be like, "I don't know, I would never do anything." Like just
Those
lie under oath, like
whippersnappers.
under God and everything, and just straight lie to the judge and get away with it. This was the 80s and 90s. Like these guys could do whatever they wanted. There was no social media. So, you know, anyway, so I'll tell you the story just because it's funny. So I thought I was really hot, and I was throwing this jab. I had a really good jab, and most karate guys were only good with their feet, and that's why I won this tournament because I could just whoop on guys. There was a dude named Johnny Tapia who was a lightweight champion in Albuquerque, and he taught us how to box, a bunch of us kids, to keep us out of trouble. And he was a friggin' world champion, so our hands were going to be better than any kid who knew Taekwondo. So I would just get inside their kicks and just pop, 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 and you would score points basically. And I didn't care which point they gave me because I hit the kid like 5 or 6 times before the referee would be like, "Oh, point!" and then just figure it out. So I thought I was the man, and I threw this jab at Chuck, and it didn't hit him. You know, he's gonna control distance obviously a lot better than I am, especially at 12. Even now, even when he's in a wheelchair, even when he's a dead man, he'll always control distance better than me. But so I tried to go in on my next jab, and I just left it out. I didn't think too long. I thought I was fast. And he just threw one kick, this wheel kick, and he pulled it. Like he's not trying to hurt me. He's a nice guy. And it just went whoop right in my ribs. And I literally took a knee. And there's this Richard Pryor used to have this joke. He'd say, "You ever have air just leave your lungs? Like air just say, fuck it." And that's what happened. But instead, I had a broken rib. And my godfather thought it was the funniest thing in the world. He's laughing like you're laughing, right? But I was 12, so it hurt.
Oh my
And so
god.
the laughter hurt even more. And he's like, "Ah!" And I'm like, "No, I can't breathe. Uncle Bob, I can't breathe." And he's like, "Oh, you'll be fine. Rub some dirt on it. Get back in there." And I literally couldn't raise my arm. And his wife, my godmother, Lillian, who is tough as her husband is, she's like 5'1" and still only weighs like 95 pounds and like eats as much Italian food as she wants she's just blessed like that, and she'll always look younger than everyone. But she literally runs Bob. Like if he ever popped off, she'd be like, "You better sit down," and he would do it. She's like the only person he would listen to and who could whoop on him. And she got so mad because she saw my ribs were like black and blue, and she was like, "We can't send him home with broken ribs. Kathy will kill you, and she has a gun. Are you crazy?" Like they were so freaked out, but I healed up, and I didn't go home for another like month and a half. And
Oh
Chuck
my
was super
god.
apologetic and gave me like tons of cool karate lessons after that because he felt
Nice.
crappy. But yeah, man. So there you go. So I relate more to the Jedi Kanan than I do a Kunari who's said goodbye, and like the biggest. And Vega's cool, but Vega's a beta personality,
Yeah.
right? Vega's like he's Spike or not Spike. What was the little dog that ran with Spike? Remember the old Looney Tunes? And he's like, "Hey, Spike, what are we gonna do today?
Oh
Spike,
yeah,
we're gonna beat
yeah.
up a cat. Let's get a cat. Spike, let's beat up a cat."
Oh my
That's
god. Yeah,
Vega,
yeah.
and Shepard's the bulldog that's like, "Shut up," and smacks. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'll shut up. I'll shut up. I don't want to shut up. I can always shut up because I hate somebody who talks too much." Like, that's James, right?
Yeah.
He's a beta. He wants to please. He wants to make you laugh. He wants to cook for you. If you get serious, he wants to be the guy that's there for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas Bull doesn't try. Bull doesn't try as hard. Bull's an Omega personality. He wants to know more what the end game is. James is there for the ride, man. He thinks Shepard's a god.
Yeah.
If you saw the little anime that I did,
Paragon's
which
Lost.
was called Paragon
Oh,
Lost, Henry
so
Gilroy,
good.
who's our main writer on Rebels, was the writer of that, for
Really?
crying out loud. Yeah, it's the smallest world ever. I
Oh
didn't even
wow.
know that until Henry and I met. He's like, "Did you know I wrote that?" I was like, "Dude, what? Why didn't you say something?" Yeah, so it's a very, very, very tight circle. So if you saw that, you could see that having not even met Shepard, he already worshipped the
Oh
guy.
yeah.
Like he only wants to be N7 because that guy did it first, and that guy's a living legend. And then he gets to literally escort him to a court appearance, but it's basically a jailbreak once all the machines come and blow everything up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's he gets to run with the guy that he's idolized for all these years and be his road dog, so to speak, to steal a wrestling term. And literally is on the road with Shepard. And even though he wants to go back and fight, if Shepard says no, which I think he does, because there's no loyalty missions in Mass 3, which really pissed me off.
I know, right?
But yo,
Those were
you don't
so
even understand.
good.
Well, we were like two-thirds through filming, recording, and we hadn't done any yet. And I asked Mac, I was like, "Hey, man, when are we doing the loyalty mission?" And it got super quiet. And I literally was like, "They ran out of time." And that's when I was like, "That's
Oh.
remember earlier when I said never give yourself a release date, and that's when I was like, they got pressed for time. And so on a couple
Gee.
things, they got jacked. And that's not the creator's fault. The creators take all the heat, right?
Yeah.
It's like the writers of movies and the directors of movies take heat. But no media member has the courage to criticize the studio, who's the one giving those notes and making those changes and demanding them, or people get fired. And they don't make those criticisms because they would not be invited to a press junket ever again. So they crap on, the people that are easy to crap on, the
Yeah.
creators of these things and the writers and sometimes the actors too, but it's simply not their fault.
Yeah.
The writers like you and me, we got a job, we got to do it, we got a boss. The boss says do this. They fight. They can say, "Hey, man, I think this is wrong for the movie. I think we should do this, that, and that. If we go the PG-13 direction and people are sold on our movie, they're going to be hot and they're not going to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's all these things that the writers can fight for, that producers and directors can fight for, that game developers can fight for. But at the end of the day, when the studio says, no, this is it, and that's how it's got to be, that fight's over.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they ran into. I don't know for sure. This is my speculation, but I feel it's an educated guess.
Yeah. No.
Especially when there's an awkward pause like that.
um.
Yeah, it was more. I don't even think there was an It was literally like just crickets, man. I literally was like, "Oh, I just said Voldemort. Oops."
Dear Freddie P, as we all know, you are a major nerd. Are you ever afraid that your nerdiness will reach critical mass, causing you to return to your home planet? Sincerely, Tink.
Of course,
Of course.
of course. I think I already hit critical mass in my World of Warcraft years.
You played.
When I played for 6 years.
Ooh,
6 years.
dude.
And I call him dwarvish, even though it's dwarven, but I was a dwarvish healer in a time where only his class could have the fear ward, which was like uber necessary on a lot of like the upper scale raids, which back then, I'm sure people farm it now, but back then it was called Arcatraz. and Gruul's Lair were like the two big ones. Right before I quit right before they did this thing called Cataclysm, where they blew
Yeah.
the whole game up and started. I was like, I can't go through it again. They made the high level like a bazillion, and I can't do it. But anyway, being the class that I was, there was this. I feel like it was a. I think it was a dragon. It wasn't the ghost dragon, but there was a dragon outside. I'd have to put a fear ward down, or the dragon would fear the tank and the whole raid would wipe. And there were nobody wants to play a dwarvish healer in Warcraft because you're not killing anything. Like you have to be totally down with helping other people out. So a lot of guilds wanted my guy and it started to feel like a job. Like they'd
Yeah.
literally be like, "Hey man, it's 4 o'clock. Where are you?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm trying to have sex with my wife. Like, what are you talking about?" And it's a game, man. You get out of my face. And people were like getting genuinely hurt, and their feelings were getting hurt, and people were getting mad at me, and they were threatening to throw me out of a guild, but I knew they couldn't because they didn't have another dwarvish healer. And
Wow.
then they nerfed my healer, and they gave shamans a fear ward, so then I was expendable. And so then they did kick me out, and I was like, "Look, I can't deal with this anymore. I gotta stop computer games and only go console because they're soul stealers. You could put
Oh.
in an 8 to 12 hour session if I was by myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when I was on the East Coast, if Sarah was on the West Coast, are you kidding? In New York City, where I lived, like where they deliver every kind of amazing gourmet meal in the world right to your door, I wouldn't leave. Like I'd
Yeah.
literally be like, "Hey, hold on, guys, AFK," and I'd grab
AFK.
like my awesome
BRB.
food made by Chef Rocco and bring my pasta next to me and like heal a raid. It was stupid. Like, and hey, make sure I get that two-handed healing mallet from Gruul. Like, you know what I mean? While I'm eating like an $80 takeout dinner. You know what I mean? Because it was like being a single in a frat house. So I had to quit. That was game
Yeah.
over. No more Warcraft. No twitching. No withdrawals. I'm totally good with Xbox and with console games. But yeah, so it's hit critical mass. Thank you very much for that humiliation. And I survived. I lived. And I don't think my home planet really wants me back. So I'm stuck on this rock
Damn it.
in this shell that keeps getting older and older. On my planet, you don't even know how good we got it. You don't even know.
Don't worry, we want you here. So someone's asking if you could give them the recipe for huevos rancheros.
James Vegas or mine?
James,
Which ones do they
ooh,
want?
are they different?
Well, yeah, mine aren't from like alien, weirdo, gross stuff. Mine are from Nuevo Mexico.
Yeah.
Mine are legit, man. I can this spring. If I'm not gonna give it to you for free, but if you want to check out my cookbook, you
You
can
you
see
are so
how
this
I
is
make
for
my
sure.
eggs.
You're making this.
Yeah, it comes out in the spring. I literally did finish my last recipe last night, and they all have like stories from, movies I was on
Oh,
or experiences I had with my family or different crazy people that I've bounced around over the years that I've cooked for or had a great meal with. And we have to shoot a cover for it, so I have to take pictures. Um, I don't remember, like in a month, and then in the springtime they wanna let it out for everybody to see. I don't know when because it's my first book. I don't know anything about the book world. I just know I want to write a cookbook, and these people wanted me to write it. So
that's awesome.
so that's that, man. But yeah, spring is when it comes out, and there's a lot of breakfast stuff in there.
Is huevos rancheros in there?
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
Well, my
that's so
version of it,
cool.
yeah. There's no sour cream in my. I don't cook with sour cream. I don't like. That's more of a
Ooh,
Texas style,
I don't like
which
that.
is cool for them. It's just not my thing. Mine's more New Mexico style.
Nice.
A lot of spicy stuff. And it's hatch chili season too. So I
Ooh,
already got my first batch of hatch chili, roasted it. It was super hot. I put it on pizza. It was almost I put too much. I put it on like you put olives on and it was
nice.
it was hot. It was hot.
Did,
But yeah, I love cooking and there'll be I think 75. I think I did 75 or 80 recipes in this one.
oh, dude.
So yeah, man. Check it out. Eat some eggs. For everyone listening, Gamer and I have kind of a super secret thing that we've been talking about, and we're gonna bust it out one of these days,
Yeah.
and you guys all love it and think it's super cool
Yeah, it's gonna
or
be
hate
really,
it.
really good.
But it'll be a lot of fun for us at least, and we're gonna do it soon. But hopefully you guys dug this, and I love talking video games and nerdy Star Wars stuff, so we'll have to do it again. And if you guys out there got questions, you can hit me up. But when we do these kind of things, hit up my lady.
Yeah, definitely. So that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for your questions. Again, Freddie, thank you so much. Had a lot of fun, and look forward to that secret thing, because that's gonna happen.
It will.
All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Do you have water?
I do.
Okay, good.
See?
Oh, no way, dude.
Yeah.
It's the same
Yeah,
as mine,
do
or
that.
no?
It actually is a Contigo, but it has a different lid on it.
Man, we're like freaking.
That's right. Related.
Yeah. I think. Should I record my video?
Do it.
Technology.
You're way better at it than I am. Like Air, just say fuck it. I
11?
don't remember what I had for breakfast. I'll say it's 2007. Don't worry, the bull's here.
Oh, you cut off.
It was me and 3 characters that were silent sisters. And I'm like the huge guy, like, wait for me. But just mowing, and all of a sudden you hear the key drop, which means the zone's clear. You hear this ding, 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 and I'd be like, I didn't even swing my hammer. I didn't even use a skill. All I did was run, and that's it. Like, and the only thing I'm good for is to like smash a jar and get the gold. And the 3 silent sisters are like, swat, 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 swat. Hello.
Did you guys
Handsome
forget
dude
I'm
with
here?
the horns.
The big guy.
What's happening? Computer love. Remember that?
No.
Instead of computer love, it'd be Kunari love. But you won't get the joke now because you're like, what the hell?
I'm like,
You're like Taylor. Taylor would be like, Kunari love. Computer love. What? Roger and Zap? Who's Herbie Hancock?
Prepare yourself for gamer... Crap, sorry.
Okay.
Thank you for watching Gamer MD83's channel. Let's kill some more dragons tomorrow.